So, quick question. Who here is a practicing coach, that you've already got your coaching practice? Fantastic. Who here is kind of new to coaching and we're sort of onboarding you to coaching? Wow, seriously. Okay, I need new slides. What I wanted to do is just sort of, again, I'll remind you all of what you already know. How many of you did know the word coach comes from a town in Hungary called Kocsa, which is where coaches were invented? And then to remind us that coaching is a way to help us get a valued person from where they are to where you want them to go, to where they need to go. And that is, in a way, really very crucial and important for us to keep top of mind. That we really have, you know, those of us in the room, I'd like you to really remember what we're doing. We can get so used to transformative experience after transformative experience of our clients that we can almost get jaded. So we need to really be mindful that we are creating a unique relationship of equals. And also that behind what we are doing is a really strong body of science. And Margaret was kidding before, you know, maybe we don't know that body of science, but I was really struck when I first entered the field that I would hear people describe their work, and then they would say, oh, but you know, it's intuitive and I don't know the science. And there isn't science behind it. And I'd say, no, there is, you just don't know it yet. That many of the skills we've developed through large collaboration, which you can call qualitative research, these skills evolved out of a lot of joint thinking, collaborative intelligence. We see coaching also as applied positive psychology, and let me remind you of what that is. The definition of positive psychology is the study of the conditions and processes that lead to optimal well-being and functioning. And whether you're teaching, parenting, mentoring, or coaching, that's really what we want to create, the conditions and processes. And again, what do we do as coaches? Is we don't start out with a problem, we start out with the vision and really get the look and the feel of that vision. And we develop the focus, you know, accept the reality and commit our way forward with our deep commitment to our values and our vision. And for those of you here and who will be watching this on our website, I want to go over the model of GROW. So for people who don't know coaching, a nice intro model is made popular by John Whitmore, where we really look at the goals and the reality. What are the internal and external obstacles? What are all the options and the way forward that we will commit to? And I don't know how many of you have done this, but when I teach leaders how to be coaches, which is a vibrant and growing field, thousands and thousands of leaders are now learning coaching skills to change their organizations. So we ask them to go through that simple model, just asking questions. And they tend to be amazed at how much the clients know. So for those of us who are experienced coaches, I kind of want to challenge you, as I challenge myself, is to keep doing that. Because as your pattern recognition gets bigger and bigger and you have a sense of where people are going, we can forget to do that. But also there's questions of, you know, what's the difference between coaching and therapy, mentoring, consulting. And so for most of the professions, the differences are really fundamentally relying on asking questions and not offering solutions. And there is a percentage of the time that we do offer solutions, which has been a real no-no. But actually, I'd say often 10–20% of the time we do. But the point is to do it in a way that coaches can consult in very different ways. So you imagine that what you have to say is a gift in a bubble. And I want to give that gift to you. What I imagine is you cannot absorb that gift until I pop the bubble. And you pop the bubble with a question and then go immediately back into coach mode. And that, again, is something that we need to give ourselves permission to do that, that we now evoke transformation. And very often, in leadership coaching in particular, you really can't just ask questions. But you need to not slide far from our core. And many of you are here from the medical school and other professions and are experienced in therapy, and to remind us of the difference. Oh my goodness, a slide is missing. There we go. What we really want to do as therapists is follow the trail of tears and take our clients on that journey into winter that they need to go, that they need to go back and find out what led to where they are, what happened to them, and how are they moving forward. And in coaching, we follow the trail of dreams, where we really try to help them and ourselves keep identifying where we want to go, what is important to us, how do we follow that energy. So in therapy, we might say, how are you? And in that labyrinth of choices of the conversation, we might hone in on sadness or fear. And in coaching, we're, how are you? And we hone in and follow that energy. And these are very complementary, useful things we work on together. So I'd like to share a one-sentence case study. A lot of what I do is coaching supervision. And for those of you from abroad, you know that supervision is now being a requirement to get hired. And that will start coming to the United States as the profession gets more and more higher end and professionalized, that people will start assuming that you have supervision. So I was supervising a woman who was quite upset because she had a whopper of a case and thought she had blown it. Man comes in, three-piece suit, sits down, says, I'm an unfaithful husband, an absent father, and at the lowest ebb of my life. So now imagine that's you. Someone sat down and said that to you. What would you be thinking or feeling, and what would you want to do or say? Well, from a coaching perspective, what she said was, is that what you want to be? If your life could look the way you wanted it to, what would it look like? One thing I find is when I'm in the most complex coaching situations where I maybe can barely grasp what's going on, you know, with some of these very high-end scientists, you know, people in all kinds of professions and businesses which I may not know intimately, I find that at those moments, the simplest coaching interventions are the best. Rather than I'm trying to expand my mind and understand it and ask this perfect, minute question, to remember, at those points, the simplest questions are best, where we help people simply reflect on themselves. And what I really love is the monarch here looking in the water, where it looks like there's just a flit from flower to flower. And in coaching, as we really follow the energy, it can seem like we're flitting from energy to energy, but in fact, I think we are like the monarch, and the process is like the monarch, where there's this deep underlying urge of where we want to go. We may not even know where it is, but we get there as the monarch flies thousands of miles to get back to the place where it needs to give birth to other monarchs. And we're going to go on a little bit of a journey today over the next 2 days. And what I'd love for you to do is to let the gears of your mind start working. And our vision for you is to hear the different ways. You know, one of the gears may be Dan Goleman, another Stephen Hayes, all of the breakout speakers, Richard Kilberg, Jeff Hall, many of us, Norcross. Start thinking for yourself about these different perspectives and take them in. But ideally, we want you to take the parts and put them into a whole, to your own coaching philosophy, where you can have multiple and complex models, where you can integrate the thought leadership from around the world and from great thinkers, and keep asking yourself, you know, how does this fit together to create beautiful coaching? How can I translate each study, each thought leader into how I can work next week and slowly pull it together? And so we would love to welcome you to the worlds of Dan, Steve, Todd, Dana, Yael, and Richard, and all of our fantastic breakout speakers, and to really begin this journey with us, and we are delighted.